What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Ninjala beta. What went right, what went wrong, and what they can do to improve the game. So for many of you guys are all probably saying, well, I want to be able to play the game because the beta, at least at the first time slot for the 28th, didn't go as planned. They had emergency maintenance, but people were able to get back into it and enjoy some games. But let's talk about when it does work. How does it play? So first and foremost, presentation, graphics, music, all of that. Very Splatoonish type of vibes when it comes down to it. Yes, it's not the same gameplay wise, and it's not the same completely graphically as Splatoon, but it definitely has those vibes from a visible presentation. It's very inviting. I think that it's a game that makes it to where it's very smooth. The animations are great because the graphics obviously aren't as in-depth as other games out there. So you have a very clean presentation style, 60 frames per second, looking really good, looks really clean. So I do love the graphical style and presentation of the game. I like the frame rate of it. I just like how everything animates, moves, and looks in motion, despite it not being the best graphically out there with polygon counts and all of that. It's a very well put together game, and I think they've spent a lot of time crafting the world and what they've done in it. I think even like the different outfits that you can use and the different stuff that's in there for presentation. You can have headbands, you can have different clothing, you can have different colors for your weapons, you can customize so many different aspects in the game, very much like a Splatoon in some sense, but almost like a Fortnite as well. You can even have victory dances and poses, or when you lose. There's a lot of cool stuff that they put into there in terms of the presentation and the style, and the music is fantastic. I actually really do love the music, and the sound effects are really good too. When you hit somebody, when you get your E-Palm bash, when you get your different specials, it really does feel good when it comes down to it, and has a nice clean look to it. So I'm loving everything about the graphics, about the presentation, about the I would say the music, all of that, all of it that it entails with the look of the game is great. But let's talk more about that gameplay because we referenced 60 frames per second. So let's talk about what doesn't work well. So for me, what doesn't work well is the clash mode. It's essentially rock, paper, scissors. You guess, right? So if you do up and they press down or left or right, you beat them. Or if they press down, you press left, or whatever beats it, you beat that. So it's essentially a guessing game. After you get hit with something, you can recover with a clash, and then you guys can go back and forth to see who wins that. And it's such a, I would say, high price that's being put on who wins those clashes, because man, you can really get some big damage when you win that clash, right? When you win that clash, you can literally KO somebody in the next one. So it's gonna be one of those things where some people love it and some people hate it. Now, my suggestion, which I am linked up with some of the people over there at Gung Ho in terms of feedback, so I'm definitely gonna be looking at you guys' comments and see where I agree in terms of feedback and kind of get that back to them once I'm done thinking about everything with this beta. And I think that maybe a button challenge input would have been a little bit better. So whoever can press those buttons the most accurately and fast, maybe 3 to 4 buttons, can win that clash. I guess that would kind of get old doing that over and over, but I'd rather have that and have it be based on skill than have it be based on luck, saying, well, I picked this and then you picked this, so I won because this beats this. I just don't like that. I don't think that's necessarily skill based. I think that's more luck or RNG based on what you're picking there, because there's no way to tip your hand. Yeah, you can play mind games like paper, scissor, rock, or rock, paper, scissors, however you want to call it, but at the same time, or at the end of the day, it's still just that kind of RNG when it comes to it. So I would like for them to change that and change it to a button press challenge if they can with that clashes. Now, outside of that, everything else is really good. I'm happy to report, get the bad news out of the way. Everything else is really good outside of the server problems. I know that server problems, whatever, some latency with some people, like I get all of that, but when the game is going, how the game plays, how does it feel, it's great. Let's talk about the basic movement in the game. Fantastic. I love the movement in the game. You have the regular dash, right, that you can just press regular dash. You have the bubble gum dash, to where you can jump up into the air once you blow a big bubble and dash around. You have the wall movement, so you can run up the walls. You can can dash, go right into a wall, run off of there. You can double jump in the game. There's a number of movement options for you to be the best ninja that you can be in Ninjala. That is fantastic, and it's going to be one of the core aspects of the game in terms of getting good and playing at a high level. Is how is your movement? It's not just about mashing the ZR and mashing out attacks, which we'll get to in terms of attacks and everything, but it's about your movement as a ninja, and I love that with this game. There's so many just different ways and variety in order to do movement, and even linking up with attacks, which we're gonna go ahead and get to right here. So the movement, solid, silky, great. It's gonna be one of the best things about this game. But the combat, how is the combat? Now, we talked about that clash mechanic, right? After you want to recover after getting hit and you guys go into the clash. But let's just talk about combos, for example, and specials and different things that you can do. The basic flow of the game is this. You have these huge drone apples, all right? And anytime that you bash one of those apples in, you actually get a little block added to your meter of your bubble gum chakra, or whatever you want to call it, right? And the more meter that you have, the more stuff that you can do. So for example, blow a bubble and guard yourself from attacks, or blow a bubble and shoot the bubble at people, or even blow up a bubble. And if you have the max amount, so if you destroy enough of those huge drone apples, and I know they're not actually apples, but I call them drone apples, if you destroy enough of those, you'll get your meter to where you can get a huge weapon that's going to give you a big advantage in combat. So the game constantly forces you to move around, destroy those big drone apples so you can get points too, because it's not just about upgrading your meter in order to do attacks and do more actions before your bar runs out, but it's also because you get points. It actually factors in to the results of the game, and whoever gets the most drone points will get a bonus. Whoever gets the most kills will get a bonus, and that can really change the position of where you end up at the end of the game. There was one time where I was in second place, but I actually got the most kills, and that bumped me up to first place, because that's the big bonus in the free-for-all match. Obviously, if it's team-based, it's a little bit different, and there'll probably be some different rules and everything when it comes to the rankings or when it comes to the point total at the end. But either way, I love the flow and structure of the game. But kind of getting back to the combat, it's really simple. You just pick up the controller, you have the ZR that you use in order to do combos, and you do that. But within that, you can actually combo things up, right? There's cancels in the game, which I've kind of learned a little bit more about watching some people do it. And I canceled when I was playing, but I didn't know that I'd canceled by just pressing the B button. So there is some advanced tactics. You can actually link up or combo to a special, so you can hit somebody up into the air, and then you can use your special that you do have in order to combo that up, which is like a dash attack with the beginning weapon. You have your super that you have to where like you turn into a tornado, which the only weapon that I use was that big Nippon bubblegum stick or whatever, but you can actually turn into a tornado, a bubblegum tornado, and knock people out that way. So there's a lot of different ways that you can combo up, that you can add more depth, that you can use movement in order to kind of just smooth on the grounds, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like Splatoon, right? You see some people that are just kind of jumping in and out of ink and moving around in a certain way. You can have that same feel, or there's that same style with Ninjala. Yes, it's not the exact same, but there's just the similarities with just from a visual standpoint. And when you're playing the game, it just feels like it's going to be that next game that really you go in there 4v4 just like Splatoon 2 and have some amazing battles. But the coolest thing about this game is that it's free to play. So obviously it's not going to be as fully featured as Splatoon and the Splatfest and all this different stuff that they have. But what they've got here so far, especially with like the offline, I mean, they have a nice practice mode in there that we were able to play. There are going to be some offline modes that you can play too with bots as well to brush up on your skills. There's plenty of content when it comes to dressing up your character and weapons, and they're going to add new stuff in. To me, as long as everything is working smoothly, this is definitely a home run. And I wouldn't necessarily say like hidden gem, because I think people know about it. It's free to play. People were talking about how much does it cost. Is it like 20, 30, 40, whatever? No, well, it's free to play. So I don't think that there's really going to be a problem in terms of people getting like the player count there. I think games like Warface got to 1 million downloads very quickly, and Ninjala is definitely more hyped than Warface, because Ninjala is an exclusive that is new. Warface is old. So the fact that we're getting this game that's exclusive so far, maybe they'll add in PS4, Xbox One crossplay at some point, but right now it's an exclusive, and there's going to be a lot of people jumping into this. So I think there's going to be a lot of matches, a lot of games. There's going to be 4v4, so that's going to be fun. I think that's really where things are going to get interesting, is when you have teams, because when it's free-for-all, that's one thing. There were so many times where I was playing and somebody comes and hits me from behind because I'm finishing off somebody else, but in team play, that can happen, but you can roll in twos. So it can be like, yo, you're a squad, you know, you got your twos and twos. Hey, we're going to go this. We have this weapons. We're going to attack this way. This team's going to do this. So there's going to be so much strategy, you know, that's going to be like evolved from a 2v2, or not 2v2, but teams of 2 or teams of 4, and you can split them up into 2, or just, heck, you're going in your teams of 4, right? There's so much more strategy involved in that than a free-for-all where people are just literally running up behind you and like hitting you and stuff and all that. So, man, I'm excited to jump more into Ninjala. I think it's a lot of fun. Never been the biggest on online games only and stuff like that, but I think Ninjala brings enough new to the table in terms of like an arena, brawler, online type of game that makes it instantly more fun than some of the other dedicated games that we have out there, like a Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, or like a My Hero, or like a Dragon Ball Xenoverse, or stuff like that. This game already pulls me in more than those games for some reason. So what are you guys' thoughts when it comes to Ninjala? What are your thoughts on the combat, the gameplay, what they need to fix outside of the server stuff? We already know that, that we can relate to the team, so we can make sure that we get some cool stuff in. Also, guys, for those who are looking to play like I would say like Gyro Controls, they have them in there. You can go into the settings and you can control that. So there is that option. I didn't do that though, but there's all sorts of different types of settings and button mapping that you can even do, and other stuff as well. Which, before I end this one here, man, I gotta talk about this. There's some stuff in the beta, or in terms of like the tutorial, that they don't tell you. You can break guard, right? So if you press like the R button or whatever, you can break the person's guard, then like the L lets you dodge. So make sure that you take advantage of that the next time that we do play, or the next time that it's available for people to play again. Definitely take advantage of those options too, because you can dodge normally without doing a bubblegum dash, and you can break people's guard with like a strong attack, which I didn't figure out until I went into the button mapping options. So there's definitely a lot of strategy and depth left to uncover in this game. So what are you guys' thoughts? Now we're at the end here. What are you guys' thoughts when it comes to the Ninjala beta and your gameplay? I'd love to hear them in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the link in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all the latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.